Hi, good morning, Marty.
Morning.
I'm very happy to have you here at Caffeine and Carrots. And we have been discussing something very interesting. And like you and I discussed, it probably has value in sharing with the wider community as well. So thanks for joining in. For everyone, I'm very happy to introduce Marty Kaufman to you. Marty is the principal and founder of customer retention consultancy called Infinipoint, and he's been doing customer-centric work for over 25 years now. In his current capacity, works with a lot of customer-focused teams, guides them, mentors them across the people, process, sort of technology spectrum. So he and I were discussing an initiative which really is his brainchild of handling this problem of uh, CS leadership mentoring and CS leadership training very specifically in the community and in the industry. And we'll discuss a little bit more in detail on why we feel that is one of the key needs the industry faces. And we'll have a chat around Marty around the same. So whilst we were chatting about this and brainstorming this, we felt might be helpful to solicit feedback from the wider audience as well. Many of you we will reach out to participate in this as well. So without further ado, Marty, if I may, I'll kick off with my first question for you, and then I'm
Fire
sure you
away.
have a few for me as well, and then we'll just see how it goes from here. So the obvious question is, why do you feel there is a need right now for something like this? And if you could throw some light on, what is it that we intend to do to address this and contribute to this problem?
Yep. Yeah, the good news is the need isn't coming from something being horribly broken. And
Mhm.
often that is the big driver for identifying a need and putting a new initiative out there, something like that. Is, oh, this is so broken that we have to fix it. And this is more of customer success as a discipline, as a unique function within organizations has matured to the point where the people I work with, the question is less about should we do this? Like, do we need a customer success function? And now pivoting more towards how do we get the most out of it? How do we prove that? How do we believe in this capability, but how do we really make sure that we're optimizing that to its ultimate degree? And there's many ways to do that. But one of them that I keep coming back to, and this is threaded throughout my whole background, is you need excellent change ready leaders to be able to move that forward, to take it to the next level, and to really get the most value out of customer success. And I should say up front, like I come from a bit of a success background. I don't think of customer success as a team first. Ultimately, customer success is an outcome that your organization is trying to achieve. Many people build a team around that, and that's fine. Both are excellent approaches. However, leadership is needed to, whether you have an organization or not, leaders that understand customer success, how to drive it, how to integrate it within the rest of the organization. The industry is ready for something like that now. And so I'm kind of excited that the place where I've been working for the last 20 plus years has finally grown up enough that it has its own name, disciplines are building around it, and
Mhm.
even leadership is even ready to take on a unique definition of what it means to be a leader in this context. It's an exciting time. That's why I really wanted to jump into this and have been enjoying thinking about it and putting it together.
No, absolutely. And I think, just adding on a little bit there. So our take also, and what we have seen across the spectrum, Marty, is there are so many moving parts in this industry, right? So which is what sets it apart a little bit, makes it a little bit more complex, and it's in the limelight right now amongst all of these moving parts, and which is why the need for strong leadership is probably higher because things are still yet to be set. There are a lot of fluidity in the industry on how do you approach things, what is the best way to do it. There are multiple things to handle together, which means you need strong leadership, and if that falters, the whole thing crumbles underneath. So you may have the best technology, you may have the best processes, without the leadership it doesn't bind together. So our interest, obviously, although we are a technology first firm, but we are also a customer success, customer centric organization ourselves. And we appreciate and see this day to day. So let me also ask you this, specific to the leadership challenge, right? Uh, who do you think the leader actually serves, or what are the constituents the leader serves? And hopefully I'm queuing this up to allow you to also talk a little bit more about what the idea is on those specific workshops which you are intending to conduct.
Yeah, you teed it up well, but I would also, there may be people listening who wonder why the question even has to be asked. It's obvious. We serve the customer. That's
Yeah,
the whole purpose of the job. We
yeah,
serve the customer more so than anybody else in the organization. It's all about the customer, and that's our role. And if that's your take, you maybe end up being an excellent manager of a customer success function, but you're probably not going to be an effective leader for your organization, and in that way also for your customers and for your team. And so the direct answer to your question, I see three main audiences that a customer success leader really serves and has to be ready to deliver for. The first is your organization or your company. And yes, that's obvious, but that is separate from needing to serve the customers of your company. So that's the second audience. You've got your company, your customers, and finally your team. Even if you start off as a team of one, this idea that there is a function or an entity that's purpose is customer success, that creates a third separate audience. And each of those are going to have different demands, different questions they want answered, some stated, some unstated. And so that's why I think it's, and you said this as well in teeing it up, that's part of the unique challenge is that each of those is very unique, but in the day to day, the leaders are dealing with all three of those simultaneously, and they are not asking the same things, and they are not all aligned. And so getting clarity around that is a pretty key leadership skill, and one that it's learnable as long as we're we're focusing on it. And so and I think that's also another reason why I was have enjoyed our conversations about this, the folks that you all deal with, the CEOs and the leaders of success and other client and customer facing functions. Do you also notice that there's, I guess that the context matters, right? That there's
yeah,
a need for something that is unique for them, just above and beyond
yeah,
wherever their starting point was?
yeah. 100%. Actually, more than 100%. And yeah, and it's also an opportunity. I mean, it's a challenge for sure for leadership in customer success today. Just by the burden of the expectation which is coming from the role, from the CEO, from the board, and also, like you mentioned, from the team themselves. Just to give you an example, if I were to compare this to sales, and you are a sales leader. Now it's an evolved industry. You are hiring from the market. You are getting salespeople in some shape or form who understand fundamentals of selling. At least they may have to adjust to your style of selling, but it's still an established function. So when you look at just the team management aspects of this from a leadership standpoint, it's still comparatively much more structured. Now you compare that to a customer success, you may get people from support, you may get from account management, from client services, from delivery, from product management, from sales, from pre-sales, and we have seen the entire spectrum now being
Yeah.
part of your team. Now your job as a leader suddenly is much more amplified, and the expectation is much more. So that's the challenge, I think, why this becomes very important to address, Marty.
Yeah. No, I like the point too that many people who are currently leading or are about to lead a customer success function, they've come from somewhere else. They are experienced or tenured leaders in their own right. This is not a job of untraining and retraining into something wholly new,
Yeah,
but it's a wonderful challenge of taking what they already know and layering in the context so that they can take advantage of the
mm,
great leadership skills they already have and then build on that so that they're able to serve these three audiences successfully. Many of them can do one or two. Like I've worked with leaders who are fantastic in developing their teams and
yeah,
career development, and or fantastic at managing upward through the executive team to get what they need and marshal the resources to be successful and advocate for their function. But to have all three, to have that and the client-facing piece where they're serving the paying customer on behalf of your entire organization and being accountable for that, that third piece is often unique, and that's why we want to think about all of them. I don't want to say together. All three are important, but they kind of need to be treated separately because those audiences are not. Again, they don't have the same demands of you as a leader. So.
Yeah, well, I agree again completely with you. And like we discussed, you said the three constituents, obviously the paying customer, right in the center, and then your organization's interest, and then your team's interest. And I know you and I discussed this, and I'd recommend adding your self-interest as well, because that's a significant component of this equation. Uh, the skeleton in the closet is that it is a 12 to 18 month lifespan in that role the industry is seeing right now, and it is because of all of these challenges which we mentioned, that do you handle the complexities of handling a team which is so diverse, as well as balancing out organizational expectations around retention and expansion and growth, plus the customer challenges of adhering to their requirements, needs, creating value, showcasing value, and we can talk more and more around it. So you have to show value in your role as well, which is a significant, I think, fundamental need for you to feel comfortable enough to able to do justice to the other three, right? So if that makes sense, Marty.
Well, yeah, and being able to leaders who know why they do what they do, like why it matters to them, why they're passionate about not just being a leader, but leading in this context for these customers on behalf of this organization. That's a powerful person like that. So your recommendation to add that sort of fourth audience of yourself, it really does tie those others together. So it's an excellent addition, and one that is really central to almost all leadership development is, understanding yourself as a leader. But even with customer success, like that asking yourself that question is also unique. Like, what is it about leading a customer success function that is so energizing, entertaining, or interesting to you, or not? It may be that your leadership path is towards something that is more focused towards where your preferences and needs are than the current challenges of leading a customer success function.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, so you and I have chatted a little bit around this, so I have some color, but for the rest, maybe good to also understand what is it that you intend to recommend in it as part of this approach of participating in and creating a sort of invitation only series of workshops with some select customer success leaders. How do you envision this playing out?
Yeah, I guess I didn't come right out and say like, and this is what we want to do. So just to be clear, I think there's an opportunity here that I'm not going to individually fill, but I want to help marshal the resources towards creating really high quality, relevant leadership development for customer success folks, for customer success leaders. And one of the channels for that is invitation only. Again, the reason for invitation only is to make sure that it's the right cohort of people, we can learn from each other, that it enhances the experience when we're able to make sure that all the folks in the room, either virtually or in real life, are kind of rowing in the same direction, interested in this topic in a similar way. But also being able to pull together the materials, the resources, the conversations that elevate the discussion of what it means to be a leader in the customer success context. And so as next steps, we'll be interfacing with other consultants, practitioners, people who do just leadership development, and pulling together I guess you can call it, for some, a curriculum, and for others a resource to be able to elevate their practice of leadership in this context. And one of the approaches that I found really powerful that applies, that layers onto this in a really nice way, is kind of a question-based approach to learning. And so instead of just putting topics out there, really thinking about this as what are the key questions that a customer success leader has to answer for their company, for the customer, and for their own team, and of course for themselves. And using that question format allows each of us to take a slightly different take on it, so that might be able to customize if you know the questions that are coming at you, and not the tactical questions, the real big strategic. What is the value of this function, and why should we invest in it? Your company may be asking you.
Yeah.
Your clients may be asking, how do I know if I'm on track with what I'm supposed to be doing? That is a big question, not a tactical how-to. And so being able to put this in a question context allows us to, what we're then teaching or learning together is how to answer those questions. It makes it immediately applicable back on the job, makes the training transfer more easily so it's relevant, and really puts some power behind the practice of leadership for customer success folks. So I'm really excited about this next phase of pulling in more people as contributors, as learners in the cohort, and really dig in and see where we can take it.
No, excellent. I think, and I'm glad you brought up the questions part of it, Marty, because that's what attracted me and SmartKarrot to this initiative. Because we as a technology platform deal with a lot of data, and we are seeing this trend of the data being now mined and queried, and intelligence sought from the data specifically to answer those questions. And if you tie it back to where is this coming from, it actually comes from either the board asking a question, and then you go hunting, hey, where is this? I want this slice dice. I want to see a correlation between the number of touch points to whether your retention has happened or not. So we see a lot of these asks out of the platform, which we are able to address. And these are where it's really a question-based system. The same question applies also to your team performance. So, is your team performing today? Where are they with their numbers? What are their KPIs? How are you tracking it? Are you tracking their tasks? So all of these have got a question mark at the end, and they seek answers from the data in the system. Where we are aspiring to be as a technology solution to this industry is to sort of also over time start preempting those questions, saying, to your point, the leadership, sort of guidance and coaching leads them to be asking the right questions across this entire spectrum in the hierarchy. But a lot of them may not. So a solution should augment the leadership and really help them also preempt some of these questions. We know you will be asked this, so this is there. We know this is going to be required in this role, so this is there. If you don't ask for it, you will never get it. With SmartKarrot, you have a better chance. Probably we will, pull you or push you enough towards it. So that's our aspiration, and that's what interests me personally, to also participate and learn from the cohort which you mentioned. What are these questions? Because that's our future.
Well, I like the way you set that up, and I'll just to sort of further promote the idea, that is part of what why I'm excited to partner with you on this. Is the SmartKarrot is not about the data, right? It's about the insights, and this whole concept of, well, the answer, getting from a question to then data, intel, insights that you can actually take action on. You're aiming up here for the action and working backwards from it, instead of starting from this enormous pool of data and just wondering what can be answered from the data. That's always an interesting exercise, but it's not the highest value activity. And so I really appreciate how you all frame it, of aiming for to provide leaders the insights they need to do what they need to do well. That's why I think we're really aligned on this. And again, there's a readiness component, that the field of customer success is now ready, with both the intellectual readiness of people who have been in the job long enough and know what they need and what it takes to be successful, but also having the tools behind it to make them really effective as leaders, and not just data analysts who happen to be leading a success function.
Great.
Being able to give them real insights to answer these key strategic questions for their company, for their customers, for their teams, and ultimately for themselves as well.
Absolutely. No, that's a wonderful summary, Marty. And I think, we have laid enough on the table, hopefully, to, let all the viewers who will eventually see this get a sense of what we are attempting. So we solicit, feedback around this. What do you feel? How do you think we should approach this? We will reach out to a few of you who we know and have a relationship with, obviously, one-on-one. For the rest, please feel free to reach out to either Marty or me. We want to build the relationship with more of you as well, and truly try and help each other out as we navigate this very interesting but admittedly complex problem the industry faces right now. Marty, anything else from you? Thank you so much for taking time out.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's a passion area of mine that brings together several things that I've worked with throughout my career, and I look forward to this co-creation process, both with you and the folks that hopefully reach out to you and I to help craft it and then to be a part of it. But really looking forward to both the process and the product that comes out at the other end.
Absolutely, same here. So yeah, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
No, thank you, Prithwi. Good luck. Talk to you soon.